next guest is an award-winning MC, actor, writer, producer, director, and one of the founding members of the Wu-Tang Clan. His beats travel like a vortex through your spine to the top of your cerebral cortex. Ooh. RZA is here, aka Bobby Digital, but we'll get to the music in a minute.
But thanks, y'all.
You are in a new movie where you play one of the most ruthless characters I think we've seen in a while. Brick Mansion is the movie. How did you get to this character?
Wow, I play his name is Tremaine Alexander. So he's a guy who grew up in the ghetto and have some West Indian in his blood. And for me to be that character, you know, I'm a vegetarian, but he's a curry goat eating man. I kind of had to go back and think about some of the guys I grew up with. And there was a guy that was a big drug dealer in my neighborhood that was a tough guy, you know, Dusty. And I kind of used some of his energy to channel through me to be Tremaine.
How could you make that character, though, your own? From what I've heard, people who play villains have to find a place where they can empathize with this brutal character. How could you get there?
You have to have empathy. And, you know, I did grow up in, you know, Brooklyn, Brownsville, then moved to Staten Island, Park Hill. And, you know, those are tough neighborhoods. And then, of course, I've made it out of those neighborhoods and I have homes in the suburb. But, you know, when Wu-Tang first came out, we said, bring the ruckus. So that's Tremaine. He's bringing the ruckus. You know, I'm not new to being aggressive. You know what I mean? So I was able to kind of feel where his mind was at. But one thing I want to point out that you got to go see this movie and you'll see a little twist is that Tremaine, even though he's ruthless, he's very smart. And I think he's a product of his environment. If he was in a different environment, maybe he could have been a different guy.
Is this movie perhaps a metaphor for the ghetto and for the discrepancy between rich and poor in an urban environment?
It's definitely a metaphor. It takes place in Detroit 5 years in the future, right? And now the mayor and the people in the city have blocked off the ghetto with a big brick wall, and there's no way out. The hospitals are closed, the police station is gone, the schools are gone, and everybody is left to tend for themselves. And most people in that situation, they turn to something that's going to ease their pain, which is drugs. My character, Tremaine Alexander, he comes in and he's going to fulfill that need, you know what I mean? And it is a metaphor because you know, the funniest thing in the movie that for me, for the character is that you hear about some of these drug dealers like getting a hold of AK-47s. Well, Tremaine got a hold of a nuclear weapon. All right?
There you go.
That's the biggest gun you could get, you know what I mean? And
things are escalating quickly.
Things are escalating.
This is an entertaining movie as well.
Oh, very
Parkour plays a big role here. You said this is kind of almost like a new form of mixed martial arts, and you equate it to breakdancing.
Yeah. I mean, breakdancing started in the streets of New York, right? Where young black and Spanish kids would hear music and it would make us spin on our heads. You know, parkour started in the streets of France where kids started off from jumping over tables and jumping over benches to now jumping from rooftop to rooftop. And then developing a martial art with it. If you knew parkour, if the guys in my neighborhood learned parkour, you would easily escape the police. You'll be like, whoop, whoop, gone. You know what I mean? So it's actually a good art for criminals.
You can learn something in this movie, I think is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, well, I want to say that, you know, parkour has really not been exposed to the American public too much. I think in the James Bond movie, they gave us a little bit of it. In a movie called The Virgin, you got like a small scene of it. But this movie is filled with parkour. And on a big screen, you know, this weekend, when the audience go see this, man, they're going to fall in love with a new form of martial art, yeah.
The movie opens on Friday, April 25th. Paul Walker is in this movie.
That's right.
It's a little strange to see him on screen.
Well, don't let it be strange. You know, first of all, rest in peace to Paul Walker. We love you, bro, you know, and always send our blessings to your family. But film has a magic quality of capturing us, you know, and this is where we could go back and, you know, we could look at our heroes. You know, I'm a John Wayne fan. You know, I watch Westerns and I buy John Wayne movies and I watch them. So, you know, James Dean, James Cagney, these guys, you know, they're not with us anymore, but we can enjoy them through their art. And I think that the fans of Paul Walker, I know a lot of ladies love that smile he had.
It's true.
You will see that smile in this movie, and it's okay. It's okay to enjoy your heroes and people and your celebrities do their work. It's okay.
Can we talk about music?
Sure, why not?
Okay, you guys had the 20th anniversary of 36 Chambers. That was not too long ago. People who are fans of Wu-Tang were really looking forward to this reunion album, A Better Tomorrow. Has it soured a little bit? There seems to be a little bit of friction between some of the members, specifically Raekwon and yourself.
Well, there's not friction between us per se. Directly, like he won't see me and I see him and it's like, no, we've been friends since the 3rd grade. But as artists and as creative people and as businessmen, we're not on the same page. But I think we'll get there, honestly.
What will it take to get there?
Both of us will both have to come to that rational medium, you know? I've learned just from working on movies, right? Movies is a very collaborative art. And when I went on the set of Brick Mansion, there was a time where it was certain lines I felt Tremaine should say. And I went and I tried to say it, and the director had certain lines that we had to stick to the script. And we made a compromise, you know what I mean? And the thing is, we all working for the betterment of the movie. So same thing for A Better Tomorrow. We all should be working for the betterment of this particular album to come out and to give it to our fans. And I know that I'm very conscious of that. And Raekwon's a very smart dude. And I know he's conscious of that. And he would come to the same conclusion I came to, which is, we're doing it for the fans.
As a fan, is there a timetable or a timeline? When can we expect this album to drop?
Let me say this to you. I haven't said this publicly, but I'm gonna say this. The album is slated to come out in July. If we don't come to terms, I think within the next 30 days, then this will either be an album without Raekwon or an album that never sees the light of day. And that's a very strong potential, because I would not want to put out a Wu-Tang album without every live member available. We can't put Old Dirty on it because he's not here physical, right? And at the same time, I don't want the fans not to have this incredible music that we've been working on for the last year. So that's going to be a tough decision, but we got about 30 days, I think, to make that decision and to come to that conclusion. And either way it goes, the sad part of it would be if it goes the way that it doesn't come out. I would be very disappointed, but I know that Wu-Tang Legacy has already made a great mark in the world.
What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling...
Will the public see this album, hear this album?
My gut feeling says yes. My gut feeling says yes. My gut has been good.
Okay.
I'm pretty good. I got a 90% batting average.
What does the legacy of Wu-Tang mean to you? You said it is written in stone, whether this next album comes out or not. What is it?
It's a few things. Look at the name Wu-Tang, right? You know that when we made the name, when I decided to call this crew this, I didn't know the full meaning of it. And I later on went to China and I went to the Wu-Tang Mountain and I met the abbot who told me that history already predicted me to do this. And he said Wu-Tang means in Chinese, man deserving of God. That's what it means. And it started from a man who wanted to ponder and how he could actually meet God, while living. And that comes from, we look at our Bible, from being righteous by being engulfed in wisdom and having purity for your fellow man. Those are all godly natures. Wu-Tang actually means that. And I didn't know at the time. So when you go back and think about what Wu-Tang, done, it made some people dance, it made some people fight, but it definitely made a lot of us think. And that's what that W was for. It's for that wisdom. It's for that wittiness. Mm-hmm. And I think that legacy is going to remain. You're going to find songs when Raekwon tells you how he grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Yep. And Inspector Deck says, to teach the truth to the young black youth. You know what I mean? And that's first it started off to the young black youth, and now he say that lyric, we say to the world's youth. It started off as something that was in our neighborhood, and then it grew to be something that was in New York, and then it went to be in America. And now I've been to Serbia, and I've seen 100,000 kids with the Wu-Tang W in the sky. So it has become a worldwide movement of energy, and it's going to remain that. But my dream now, after 20 years, is to celebrate it with a new album called A Better Tomorrow.
The world has been able to hear your music. When Wu-Tang started, you were selling tapes out of the trunk of your cars in Staten Island. Is it possible you would only release one album? That has been the rumor. Is there any truth to that?
Oh, well, there's another album called Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. My buddy at Silver Rings, who started off as a student of mine. It's really a great American story, even though he's from Morocco and from in Dutch, Holland. But He started off as a fan who I brought on stage one day. And he later on came to America looking for me, and he met my mother. And he gave her a letter, and she read it, and she made me meet with him. He was 18 years old, I think, at the time. And I told him to go to school, you know, and study the business, and he did. And as a fan, he always loved the Wu-Tang Forever album. And he wanted to help create that spirit again. And after 6 years, we secretly formed a piece of art. It's not an album. It's like a sculpture. It's like a painting. And it's called Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. And right now, it's in the hands of experts. They're going to figure out exactly what to do with it. But there's only one single copy of it. It's like the Mona Lisa. You only have one. So it's only one of these things. And it's something very special.